Welcome to Curiosity. Today, we are going to talk about a hole on Mars that opens once every 2 years and spouts water. You may have heard that Mars is a dry and dusty planet, with no liquid water on its surface. But did you know that there is a hole in the atmosphere of Mars that periodically releases water vapor into space? This hole may be responsible for the loss of water on the red planet over time. According to a study published in the journal Nature Astronomy, the hole is caused by a phenomenon called the Mars Express Orbiter (MEX) orbit. This is a special orbit that aligns with the Sun every 2 years, allowing the spacecraft to observe the same region of Mars at different times of day. The researchers used data from MEX and other missions to measure the water vapor in the upper atmosphere of Mars. They found that there is a seasonal variation in water vapor, with more water in summer than in winter. They also found that there is a regional variation, with more water over certain areas than others. One of these areas is Tharsis, a volcanic region near the equator that hosts some of the largest volcanoes in the solar system. The researchers discovered that there is a hole in the atmosphere over Tharsis, where water vapor escapes into space. The hole is created by a combination of factors, such as the high altitude of Tharsis, the heating effect of the Sun, and the influence of dust storms. These factors create a strong upward wind that carries water vapor from lower to higher altitudes, where it can be easily lost to space. The researchers estimate that this hole accounts for about 10% of the total water loss from Mars. They also suggest that this hole may have been active for billions of years, contributing to the long-term drying of Mars. But how did Mars get water in the first place? And where did it go? Scientists have proposed several hypotheses for these questions. One hypothesis is that Mars had a thick atmosphere and a warm climate in its early history, allowing liquid water to flow on its surface and form oceans, lakes, and rivers. But over time, Mars lost most of its atmosphere due to solar wind erosion and impacts from asteroids and comets. This made Mars colder and drier, and most of the water either froze underground or escaped into space. Another hypothesis is that Mars never had much water to begin with, but acquired some from comets and asteroids that crashed into it. These impacts also heated up the surface and melted some of the ice below, creating temporary lakes and streams. But these bodies of water were short-lived and evaporated quickly, leaving behind traces of minerals and salts. A third hypothesis is that Mars had a moderate amount of water in its past, but it was mostly locked up in ice caps at the poles and underground reservoirs. Some of this water may have occasionally melted or sublimated due to volcanic activity or climate change, creating transient flows and gullies on the surface. But most of this water remained frozen or hidden beneath the surface. These hypotheses are not mutually exclusive, and different factors may have played different roles in different periods of Mars' history. The evolution of water on Mars is a complex and fascinating topic that still requires more research and evidence. So next time you look at Mars, remember that it is not just a barren desert, but a planet with a rich and dynamic history of water. And that there is a hole in its atmosphere that periodically spews out some of this precious resource into space. Thank you for listening.